All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cold-Blooded Podcast, my fellow bleeders. You might be thinking, hey, this looks a lot different than usual. Drew is on a European tour that's just finishing up right now, which is why we had to take a brief hiatus. He told me to tell y'all, though, that, this is exact quote, shoot. He's fired up, man. I'm fired up, for Isaac to do a solo pod. I know he's not as famous as me, so y'all are probably gonna not watch this episode as much. But shoot, man, I'm just still fired up though because I think y'all believe in Isaac the same way I do. Much like tackles. Usually we do the podcast and it's a 0.5 tackle. Rarely do either of us get a solo tackle. But today, shoot, man, I'm fired up to see Isaac hit that hole. Meet the running back in that hole for a solo tackle, a 1.0 tackle, not an 0.5. But when I get back, we'll be back to racking up 0.5 tackles each. But getting more out of the tackles, than normal. I'll wrap up the legs. Isaac will go up top. Illegal on a quarterback in the pocket, but you can do that to a running back in the hole. So that's what it is. So that's exactly what Drew said. He's excited for me to do, verbatim. I didn't change any of that at all. That's straight from the horse's mouth from Drew. How do you like them apples, huh? So I was thinking about this the other day. You think Jim Bob Cooter, you think they call him Cooter? Like in the office? You're just walking through the hallways. Hey, it's Coach Cooter, you think when Shane is talking to Irsay, he's like, well, the game plan, or when Shane's talking to Ballard, just like, hey, man, I think, Cooter's got a good game plan dialed up, as long as we scoot with the coot, we're going to do well. Oh my God. Drew, you're not here. If you're in Europe and can hear me telepathically, I'm telling you, that's the 2 T-shirts we're going to start selling. I'm calling it right now. FIPOTS, if you remember, is an acronym for Fuck It, Pittman's Out There Somewhere. And that's just when, that's what a Colts, that's for you to yell as fellow blue-blooded maniacs when, we just need something on offense. When we need something, FIPOTS. Third and 12 in the third quarter, we've only put up 7 points. Fucking FIPOTS, all right? He's out there somewhere. Just throw it up to him. Who cares if his head gets bent back like a Pez dispenser again? The dude's made out of fucking adamantium. All right? He's made out of vibranium. With all that shit in Captain America's shield, that's in his bones, mixed with whatever, with the adamantium from Wolverine's claws and his whole skeleton. That's inside Michael Pittman. That dude's a fucking transformer. That dude literally wakes up out of bed every morning, and then he turns into a fucking Optimus Prime. Like he's just, I am Optimus Prime. That was a pretty decent Optimus Prime, I'm not going to lie. Anyways, second T-shirt is going to be Scoot with the Coot. Scoot with the Coot, I'm calling it right now. That's and it's just going to be a picture of good old JBC. That's probably what they call him. JBC, Jim Bob Cooter. It's just going to be a picture of him like this on the shirt. And above just say, Scoot with the Coot. Nothing on the back. That's corny. You can't have anything on the back. On the back will be all the links to the cold-blooded social media fucking... It's not going to be that, no. But I just love that we have a coach named Jim Bob Cooter. I'm going to call him Coot from here on out. Hey, y'all scooting with the Coot? Dude, that's going to be like the Colts... we got to make a music video, Colts fans. I'm going to start a GoFundMe for Cold-Blooded, where Drew and I are going to make a music video that y'all can help us produce and fund. That's and bankroll. That's going to be like the Super Bowl shuffle for the Bears, but it's just going to be called Scoot with the Coot. You got to scoot with the Coot. Yeah, got to scoot with the Coot. Scooting with the Coot, scoot with the Coot. Scooting with the Coot. You got to scoot with the Coot. You got to have the backup dancers. You always got to have them in this weird 90s R&B / 70s dance disco mashup that I'm doing. It's kind of what it's starting to sound like. Scooting with the Coot. Scooting with the Coot. Yo, and then Jim Bob comes in for a guest, rap. Because they have to do it. when they don't have musical talent, which I don't know if he does, like Irsay, but maybe he can play guitar. I mean, his name is Jim Bob Cooter. He's got to play. He probably plays the jug with the 3 X's on it. That's probably his go-to instrument if his name is JBC. But he's got to come in and make a cameo in the music video too. He's got to come in there. Yo, I'm JBC with like sunglasses on with like diamond encrusted rims, gold chains. Says Coot. Spells out Coot in diamonds. Just swinging from his neck every time he jumps up and down. Gets hit in the face with diamonds of Coot. The Cooter Diamonds. That's a jewelry company that I would not buy diamonds from. K Jewelers. Cool. Every kiss begins with K. All the other ones you see in the mall and shit, in Indian and Keystone Mall, Castleton Mall, and everything. Those are fine. But if you walked by Cooter's Jewelers, you're not getting those diamonds. Those are for sure blood diamonds. And I could go really dirty with that joke, but I'm not. I'm going to stay on track with some Colts stuff because I want to talk about a random thing I'm fired up about. Because look, it's been like 2 weeks or something, 3 weeks since camp. They're about to hit training camp, with the pads and everything. And Drew and I already talked about what we're looking forward to as far as, offense goes. Like there's a lot to look forward to on offense. I mean, young, scrappy, quick, eager, like these athletic. I mean, these describe the entire offense. But what's really, shoot, man. What's really firing me up right now, what's getting me fired up is the offensive line, man. I mean, Blake Freeland, they did the throwing competition or whatever, and Freeland's got a cannon. Him and EJ Speed apparently got cannons on him that people weren't aware of. So I guess those are our 2 emergency quarterbacks, EJ Speed and Blake Freeland. But Blake Freeland, he barely had any starts in college. That motherfucker came in last season trying to block Myles Garrett, TJ Watt. He had his work cut out for him. And he started, of course, not great, but he literally, wasn't he like a tight end through most of college or something? He came in and then he got better. Like, that's the thing I'm loving about our offense. They just seem like a bunch of hungry, eager dudes. Your Adonai Mitchells, even not the younger guys, even guys like Pittman who are in their prime. Like, they're just the they're just the hungriest they've ever been. Richardson coming back from injury, hungry. Just everybody is on the same page, and the vibe that I'm hearing from like the official Colts podcast and like the Colts site and NFL.com is like this is a different feeling. There's a different feeling in the locker room. There's a different feeling in the building than there has been in the last like 10, 15 years. And I'm here for it, man. I am so goddamn here for it. Blake Freeland, though, it's getting me fired up. Freeland and Ryman, right? Bernard Ryman, with the really high relative athletic score. There's him, and then there's also Blake Freeland, who had a very high RAS as well. RAS. And like Freeland, he held his own towards the end of last year, and he started coming into it. So now it's like, not only do we kind of have an embarrassment of riches on the defensive line, Latu, Ebukam. Those are our 2 starting ends, Latu and Ebukam. Projected. Throw Dio in the mix, throw Tyquan Lewis in that mix, throw Kwity Paye in that mix, who just got extended, right? Re-signed or extended, one of the 2. Now you go to the offensive line, and suddenly Freeland and Ryman, two of the most athletic offensive linemen in this league, are now putting it together. If you got your bookends, we already know the interior what it is. Big Q, Ryan Kelly, who granted is on his way out, but we got Tanner Bortolini and Gonsalves, who I'm trying to remember his first name. It doesn't matter. Those 2 guys are going to be learning behind some of the best. Will Fries is a great guard too. So that 3 up front, solid, at least for this year. But with the 2 bookends coming on in Ryman and Freeland to just lock down those ends. Hey, no, get over here. Ollie, that's bad. Come here. So I'm getting so excited. I'm like, the dog's freaking me out even. Come here. Show me your face. Come here. Come here. I got treats. You want treats? Huh? Wait till you see Ollie. He's our Colts mascot. He's coming into frame. Come here. Come here, buddy. He's going to be our sixth offensive lineman. This is our rotational depth piece right here on the offensive line. He can play swing tackle. He can do interior. He's even played a little bit of center in high school. My little pug right here. His name is Ollie. He wears number 75 because that's what my freaking blood pressure. He wears number 200 because that's what he makes my blood pressure do. This guy. He's cute as hell, but I mean, he's chunky. He's like your perfect pug, but this dude is not. Look at him. I'm going to get him a helmet. Put it on him right there. All right, because he's always trying to run it. Look at him. Look at him just always be acting up. You'd be perfect for the offensive line if you weren't so damn small. Because he's just rough, man. He's motor. That's what it is. Motor. He's got nonstop motor. If my little pug was an offensive lineman, I mean, he would be getting pushed around a lot, but his recovery he wouldn't stop. Maybe you should be a D end. Maybe you're the TJ Watt of pugs. I don't know, but stop acting up, all right? I'm going to put a helmet on you, and we're about to do the Oklahoma drill, all right? If you don't knock it off. I'll give you a treat, but you better stay and be good. Tanner Bortolini, Gonsalves, got center and guard depth right there. But, Tanner's going to take over for Ryan Kelly, unless we re-sign Ryan Kelly, but I don't know how feasible that really is. I just am excited about that offensive line, man. I'm as excited for this offensive line as I was for when it was Glowinski, Ryan Kelly, and Big Q up front with Costanzo at left tackle. And Braden Smith at right tackle. I'm as excited. I don't think it might not be quite as good, but I'm real excited for that. I'm also, it's interesting. By the way, I don't know if any of you guys are going to watch the that documentary about moving from Baltimore to Indy. It's supposed to be really good and really in depth and more than just about picking up and moving in the middle of the night. But I don't know, man. As a Colts fan, I kind of want to remain blissfully ignorant of that. It's like you don't want to know your parents' sins. You want to know your parents as good people. But let's face it, your parents are humans. They've been through some shit. Okay? It is what it is. Ollie, hey. Stay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to watch that probably. I mean, if I'm really bored on the road or something, I might, but it just ain't going to happen. Ollie, what are you doing? Rubbing up on my nice little jersey. By the way, story behind this jersey. I don't know if y'all know who number 62 was back in the day. His name was Ellis Johnson. He was a defensive tackle, big motherfucker, and he was good. And this was back when our defense was not good. And I know that you can tell, those watching this by looking at the jersey. It is, in fact, a game jersey. It's a game jersey. Look at this. This is how big this motherfucker was. Look, this goes down to wraps around my knee. Look at this. While I'm sitting, wrapping around my knee, stretching out. Material's actually nice. They wear good material on the field, way better than the stuff we wear. Grip's tight, but it's somehow flexible, movement oriented. Works better with pads on. I'm feeling a little naked around the shoulders, but funny story behind how I got this jersey. It's a game jersey. Still got red paint on it from whatever game he played in the early 2000s, late 90s, whatever that was. I was at an RCA Dome event, I believe, with my father. My mother didn't give a damn about football, whatever. She's a 5'3" woman from Hong Kong. That just wasn't part of her culture in the 50s, and the 60s and 70s. But I ended up, we were at RCA Dome, me and my pops, doing some Colts event thing. We used to love to go to Colts events. And, all right, I got to pause this because this dog. So we're about to leave the RCA Dome. The event's over. Pops and I had a good time. On the way out, Don't quote me on the RCA Dome thing. It was back when the RCA Dome was a thing, but this was back when they were doing Q&As at the Montgomery and Steakhouse in Naptown and like, stuff like that. So it could have been at some random Colts camp thing too. I did one of those when I was younger. That was fun. I cried like a bitch at one point, I think, because I wasn't getting my way, and my dad like grabbed me by the arm, yanked me aside, threatened to take me home, stopped the tears immediately. I was like, no. I'm going to keep catching passes from Jack Trudeau and keep learning drills with Aaron Bailey, because I loved Aaron Bailey back then too. But anyway, at this other particular thing, how I got this jersey was a guy walked by holding the jersey like this, like laid across like if you have a pillow with a crown on it that you're presenting to a king, or a sword that you're presenting to like one of the highest knights or warriors. That's the way he was holding the jersey, just kind of draped over. And he just walks by when we were leaving, and he goes, "Hey kid, you want this jersey?" Me and my dad looked at each other like, yeah. And he was like, "All right, here, someone won it in a raffle. Been looking for him for like a half an hour, can't find him. It's yours." I think the person had just left, or I don't know what happened, but he just handed me the jersey, and I didn't know what it really was. We opened it, and it went all the way down to my, and I was probably like 11, 12-ish maybe when this happened. The shit went down to the floor on me. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And to this day, I shit you not, Drew doesn't know this yet, but I don't think he does at least. I wear this sometimes if I'm like going to a Colts game at a bar. Or not really at a bar, I don't. But when I go to Colts games, I wear this Ellis Johnson game jersey. I wear it. I'm that much of a dork. There's a few things that I'm a super dork when it comes to. All right, Lord of the Rings, a little bit of Doctor Who, Marvel movies and comics and DC even, but also the Colts, man. I'm a dorky Colts fan, man. I wear this. And people, I wore this to a Niners game, the one that was raining when we made Deebo Samuel fumble, and Jonathan Taylor just was like, everybody was like, "Oh, the Niners defense is the best," and Jonathan Taylor was just ripping off monster gains on him, breaking tackles left and right, juking people out. I mean, that was oh man, who was that with? Was that Wentz? I don't know who was our QB then. All I know is we won somehow against like literally the second best team in the league at that point. And of course, we still didn't make the playoffs. That's classic Colts for you. Let's beat like 3 of the top 5 teams and then somehow not make the playoffs. All right? That fires me down. If there's anything that fires me down, that's one of the things. Richardson's shoulder. All right? Let's talk about it. I'm okay with it. It worried me just like you guys. Had a mini panic attack when it happened. And then all of a sudden they say, like, if it was an NFL game, next week, he'd be good to go. And then Chris Ballard just said yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was, he's a full go for training camp. I guess he had done some heavy throwing sessions back to back, caused some soreness, but they were surprised that it didn't happen already, which kind of makes me wonder, like, why did they push it then? Like, did they want to try and make it sore just to see where the timeline was on his recovery? Like, somehow that would be an indicator, like a checkpoint in a video game, Like, you would hit that spot and you go, oh, okay, now we can move past this and try not to come back to it. But if it comes back to it, we got to start over. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of feeling not as worried as I was. I'm just always going to be worried with training camp when the pads come on. I know you're not really allowed to hit the quarterback, but I just don't. I love that Anthony Richardson's packed on some mass. Lamar did it. Lamar Jackson did it. I guess it kind of affected his quickness. That's the thing. I don't really mind. Like, Richardson's, he was never quite as quick as Lamar, but he is super quick and twitchy. But I see him as, we've been harping on it, and I've been harping on it for sure, but he's just such a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson hybrid in like the best of ways. I think his long speed rivals that of Lamar Jackson. I think his toughness and his size and strength rival that of Josh Allen, who he is now bigger than by about 10 pounds. Isn't that crazy? He's bigger than Josh Allen now and the same height. And so he's got the best of those two worlds. It's just my thing with Richardson is going to see where his twitchiness and quickness takes him, like in the hole or in the open field when he's got one defender to beat. How's he going to juke that guy out? With Lamar Jackson, it's like, you know what's going to happen. With Josh Allen, that's where it's like, okay, that one guy could get him in the open field because he doesn't have like the amazing lateral quickness or anything like that. So I think if Richardson could somehow not let the weight affect his quickness like it did Lamar, I think he can, he'll be able to run over defenders in the open field and in the hole and also be able to juke them out. And that is a luxury at quarterback that no other team really has like that. They just don't. And then to have the arm he has, fired up on this offense. The offensive line, these hungry ass receivers. I cannot wait to see AD Mitchell with the pads on because that's really when we're going to see, all right, is his patience, his amazing patience on his route, is that a thing that can translate? Is he going to be big enough and tough enough with his slender frame sort of that he needs to bulk up on? Like, how is being pressed at the line going to affect him? Is he going to have to play off the line, 1-2 yards back off the line every single time? Because I know if I'm a defensive coordinator, I am trying to press. I don't need to press Pierce. I don't trust him getting separation. Like Drew and I talked about, he doesn't instill that fear. AD instills the fear, so you got to press him. That's what I would do if I was a defensive coordinator. I would just constantly press him and force them to try and call plays where he's running routes 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which might be, a factor in how much time it's going to take him to get open. Like it might take that half a second later. But if he can get that toughness to where he can just get off of press coverage, the sky's the limit. He would be one of those receivers that I wouldn't mind him because normally, you know me, I hate those bubble screens, those plays where they catch the pass behind the line of scrimmage. Like those plays to me are so easy to get pick sixed on. And they're also just like the chance of getting the gain that you need or even a decent gain is just so small compared to the risk. But a guy like AD Mitchell, I wouldn't mind running a couple plays like that. Send him in motion, hit him, maybe send him in motion behind while you're under center, or even in the shotgun, set him in front of you. When you snap it, just hit him on the, as he's in motion coming out. I don't know what you call that because I've never played a down of football in my life, but I analyze it a lot and complain about it a lot. Hey, we're Colts fans. That's what we do. But those kind of plays with him, I wouldn't be at all concerned about. I think it would be, obviously you'd never want to run those with Pierce. You can run them with Pittman, but sneaky speed, I guess, but it's not ideal with him. He's crafty though, man. I guess technically, yeah, we have three receivers that could do it like that. Downs has the quickness, AD's got the quickness, and then Pittman's just crafty. He's crafty. He can make it work. So this offense, man, I think the Colts offense. Let's take some guesses. I want you to write in with some guesses too, with some to answer this question. How many points per game by the end of the 2025 season do you think the Colts are going to average as a team on offense? Message us, email to coltblooded21@gmail.com. Follow coltblooded21 on Instagram. And also you can, I think, comment on like the podcast sites and the show. I don't know how it all works, but you can ask us questions. You can leave us comments. You can do the same thing on YouTube, and we might even respond to them. I know a lot of y'all have given us positive feedback on YouTube, and we definitely really appreciate that. A lot of you are saying that this podcast is like a breath of fresh air for Colts fans. And that's like exactly what we were going for, by the way. We wanted this to just feel like loose and different from every other podcast of Colts content out there, or just Colts content in general. A lot of it's really good from their company and well shot and well produced and everything. But our thing is just we want to make you laugh. We want to make you excited for this season. Like, we don't want this to feel super official or anything. So appreciate all the positive feedback. And what I want you to leave a feedback for in this episode is how many points per game do you think the Colts offense is going to average by the end of the 2025 season? I think it could very well be somewhere around like 27, 28 points a game. Again, I'm shooting high. I'm biased, right? And I just want to see an offense. We just haven't seen, as a Colts fan base, we have not seen an offense that's just humming in a long time, since the Andrew Luck days, where it's like the offense is humming and humming and humming. And now we've got the defense that hopefully with some changes made, especially in the run defense. But that was kind of a whole nother thing, how that fell apart last year. I still don't get it. I think a lot of it was just busted coverage. A lot of it was injuries. Like, I know I said busted coverage in the run game. I mean busted assignments. So I feel like the offense can run away with games and the defense can capitalize off of turnovers with other teams trying to catch up. I feel like that's where the Colts are going for, the sort of Peyton Manning era Colts, the Andrew Luck era Colts, where it was like, okay, we're going to put up the points for sure. Now, are you guys going to be able to keep up, or you're going to have to take chances and our defense is going to capitalize? And now we've got the defense that was, 51 sacks last year, the most in team history. The secondary I'm worried about, man. Daniel Scott. I really wanted that guy. I really wanted to see what that guy was made of, because we just have such bad luck at safety. What the fuck are we supposed to do as Colts fans when it comes to the safety position? I mean, even Bob Sanders, who was the best Colts safety of all time, couldn't shake injury. I mean, he came by as our shooting star, got us a Super Bowl. Thanks, buddy. Down he goes. He's out. I got his jersey too. We just have such bad luck with the safety position, and now just the secondary in general. Everything with Isaiah Rodgers, which is like, they're saying in Philly that Isaiah Rodgers is killing it in camp. And it's one of those things where, like, was his gambling thing really that bad that we just cut him from the team? Like, being suspended for a year was definitely hurt us as a team for such a stupid offense. Like, don't gamble on games. What are you doing if you're an NFL player? Don't gamble on games. You'll get your money, all right? And if you're an addict, seek help. We're here for you. All right? Scoot with the coot. Okay? That's really what you got to do in the end to fix all problems. Scoot with the coot and 5 pots. So, yeah, just the bad luck there. I'm feeling the Daniel Scott thing is just so heartbreaking, because there were such good reports coming out of camp with him at a mini camp and stuff. And he's smart. Rodney Thomas fell apart the last half of the season last season. But he's like a Harvard guy. He's not super athletic by any means, but he's supposed to be smart. Although we know athletes don't get into Harvard based on their intelligence. But, this Blackman's smart. He's athletic. He's like our stalwart if we had one back at the safety position. I love that we re-signed him. I love that he's here to stay for a while. I think that just Daniel Scott was going to bring another level of intelligence to the position. And him tearing his ACL is just brutal for this secondary. If there's anything that's going to hold us back this year, it's the secondary. Like, I'm just saying it. I don't want to say it, but it is what it is. Don't want to be a Debbie Downer on this podcast while I'm sitting here in my game jersey from Ellis Johnson, because I'm just like him. I could have done what he did. Give me some pads, coach. Put me in, Coot. I know he's offensive coordinator. Who's the defensive coordinator for us? Why am I blanking? Gus Bradley. Put me in, Gus. Gus and Coot. working in tandem. Now that's an improv duo I would see. They were performing at the Groundlings or UCB. Come on out and see Gus and Coot. Coot and Gus. At it again. One's on defense, one's on offense. Coot and Gus for the win. I don't know. I just feel like that secondary, I don't know what we're going to do, man. This is kind of part of the reason, like, I'm not going to lie, because Drew and I kind of like, not argued about it, we just debated it. And I saw his point where it's like, we don't really need to go get like a L'Jarius Sneed, which I was hoping we would shell out big money for, but, Drew, I think, kind of was on the fence, but leaning the other way about it. But this is the reason why. I mean, the bad luck in general is fine, but it's like when it's your young guy, you need some sort of veteran presence back there, other than just like, I mean, Julian Blackmon is a great veteran presence, but he's injury prone too. You need some durable people on the back end. And I think the back end on defense gets forgotten a lot because it's not as valued now. So you think you can just cycle these people in and out. But I don't know about y'all. I don't want to see Darrell Baker play another snap for the Colts. I don't want to see... Dude, every turnover he got just like fell in his lap last year. It's so funny. It made him look way better than he is. I mean, give the man his flowers. He got those turnovers, and he did make some plays. The amount of busted coverages down the stretch last year really just irked me, especially, and that comes from a lack of intelligence, or I should say a lack of high IQ plays. I won't say these players aren't intelligent. Rodney Thomas, Julian Blackmon, Daniel Scott ain't going to do it now. I don't even know who our other safety, or Nick Cross. I mean, they got potential, but they got to all be on the same page. And they got to be on the same page with the corners. Kenny Moore, I feel like Kenny Moore and Julian Blackmon got to lead that secondary this year. They're the X factor. Not Latu, not Zaire, not Richardson, not Jonathan Taylor, not the offensive line, not Michael Pittman, not A.D. Mitchell. The X factor in how the Colts are going to be able to burst through the ceiling next season is going to be how Kenny Moore and Julian Blackmon can lead that secondary. Honestly, that's where the pressure is. We might be, with a shitty secondary, we might still be a playoff team because of all those other names I mentioned, right? I didn't even mention Defoe and Grover up front, on the defense. I'm going to get their game jersey too at one point. I'm just going to have a bunch of 300-plus pound men's jerseys in my house that they wore during the game with field paint all over them, And I'm going to hang them from the ceiling in my house. They're going to be like the beads, like the 1970s beads you would walk through and come in through, but it's just going to be jerseys. People got to just get under it, swat it out of the way to get through all of my doorways. Sorry. Got to walk through a jersey to get to the bathroom. Can't take a shit unless you go by Defoe. If we're going to get up to championship level of play, though, if we do make the playoffs, Kenny Moore and Julian Blackmon got to get that secondary dialed in somehow, especially with all the injuries that have been happening. Also, an X factor on that same note might be Nick Cross. If he can take a leap, if he can finally add his play, if he can finally play with a high in-game IQ to go with his insane athleticism, then I'm not as worried about the secondary. And I think that we have the potential to go deep, deep, deep into the playoffs. And that's going to do it. That's going to do it for Cold Blooded on this solo episode, solo Isaac Allen episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, ColtBlooded21, at ColtBlooded21. You can email us questions and things at ColtBlooded21@gmail.com. I believe we're on TikTok too. Obviously, we're on YouTube, Cold Blooded Podcast. Is there anything else? Drew gets back, like I said, from Europe next month, beginning of next month or end of this month, something. So we're going to be back in the studio. We're going to be analyzing, hopefully, training camp coming up, seeing how that goes. Watch the documentary on the Colts, official Colts YouTube page, or don't, like me. Just blissful ignorance. Live in it. Bask in it. Bathe in the ignorance of bliss, of not knowing the sins of your fathers and their fathers and their fathers' fathers and your forefathers, which I think forefathers encompasses all of the fathers that aren't your father, right? Would your grandfather be your forefather? What is a forefather? I don't know. Anyway, you can watch it or don't. I'm not going to watch it unless I'm really bored one day on the road or something. Anything else? Keep helping us grow this thing. Keep helping us grow it. Like, we're doing this for y'all, and we're doing this for ourselves because it's fun. But yeah, any way you can help us fund this thing, because we got studio bills, we got all kinds of stuff we got to do, which is cool. Like, that's like no pressure or anything. But if you're really enjoying the podcast and you want to contribute, you can subscribe on Buzzsprout. I think you could probably donate on YouTube. I don't know. I'm so technologically inadvanced. It's wild. But yeah, we're going to start a Twitch, I think, soon. Again, don't know how that works, but we're going to do it. We just got to grow this thing, man. Let's grow this thing. Let's see if we can get this cold-blooded podcast for all you bleeders out there to get to, let's say we can get to 1,000 subscribers by the first regular season game. That would be great. And then we're going to start having guests on. There's a lot of comedians. We're going to get comedians specifically. People like Megan Gailey, who used to open for Anthony Jeselnik, and she does her own thing now. She writes on stuff, and she's from Indiana. We went to high school together, Lawrence Central High School. Go Bears, I guess. And she's going to be on to talk shop with us when the season starts. We're going to have guys like Vinny Fastline, who you might not know him. He's a very funny comic out of Los Angeles, but he's from, I believe, Pittsburgh, and he's a Steelers fan. We played them this year. Seemingly every year we play the Steelers. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I'm kind of tired of playing them. We got to find another team to just randomly play every year than the Steelers. How about just if you want to go with a random team, how about like, I don't know, the Chargers? That'd be one where it could be a wild card game. That's fun. I don't know. But anyway, we might have Vinny on to talk when we play the Steelers. We're going to try and have comedians on who are fans of the teams that we're playing against, which is going to be highly entertaining. And if we grow this podcast enough, we're going to get it to a point where we'll have a Patreon where if you pay a little extra to subscribe, you'll get episodes of us doing the show, releasing an episode right after the game. Like the day after, where we're still stuck in our feelings about whatever happened, win or loss. And you'll get to see the more emotional sides of Drew and myself, I think. And hopefully we can get to the point where we can even live stream Drew and I's reactions to games, because sometimes we get together for games and hilarity ensues.